We'll see. It's Fitzmagic, baby. It's Fitzmagic. And then you have Adam Thielen, a guy that I personally am a big fan of, racking in 102 yards, picks up the bonus, ends up with 13, just a little over 13 points. His wide receiver 3 ended up with 3 yards. DJ Moore, the top wide receiver taken in this draft. Didn't live up to the hype. Do I think he'll turn it around? Yes. How valuable he's going to be on a week in and week out basis? To be honest, I really don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. That's kind of the way it goes with rookies. Sometimes you hit a home run. Sometimes you're out there butting for a base hit. Who knows? Zeke, he got his numbers. 14.6 points, 69 yards rushing, 17 yards receiving, and he scored the only touchdown of the Cowboys season so far. Hopefully we'll have more than that next week against the G-Men. Will it happen? I hope so. If not, can we fire Jason Garrett? I'm going to start this right now. Every week I'm going to say fire Jason Garrett. Whether we win, we lose, we tie. Hey, Cleveland tied. Cleveland has a better record than the Cowboys, so fire Jason Garrett. Boom. That's all the advice you need to know. AP doesn't expire when running backs expectedly go to that age where they're off the cliff, they're done for. It looked like that was the case with AP, and boom, all of a sudden, Darius Geis goes down, and what happens? AP signs with Washington, and now he's a thing. Now he's balling out. 96 yards rushing, 70 receiving yards, and a touchdown to go ahead and pop in a nice little 20.6 points for Bryant. Greg Olsen, injured. Doesn't look good. Looks like he's going to miss multiple weeks. How many weeks? We don't exactly know. A little rough estimate time frame on this. Hopefully for Bryant's sake, he comes back in a fairly short time frame. Not all were, as lucky. R.I.P. Delaney Walker. It's Jared Cook season, though. So, anyway, moving on to Isaiah Crowell. 10 carries, 102 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. The New York Broadway Jets steamrolled, and I mean steamrolled, Detroit with a whopping 48-17 victory on Monday night. I know Jay Nash is somewhere off in the corner screaming out Stafford sucks. We'll get there. Bryant used his kicker, Bryant, for a nice little 7 points. And then the number 1 defense drafted this year was Jacksonville. They pulled up a nice little 15 points. Anytime you get that, that's great. Flipping sides here, Ponchall's team, 131.66 points. Nothing to be ashamed about. Led here by his quarterback. Phillip Rivers went off. 424 yards passing, a 2-point conversion, adding in a little 3 dimes in the end zone. Nice 37.96 points. Solid. Any given week, you can go ahead and roll that out there. You're happy. Brandon Cooks in his debut with the Rams, 93 total yards. 41 yards from Funchess. I know Ponchal hyped him up a little bit this season. To be honest with you, there's more weapons there. Now Greg Olsen is out. He might get exactly what Ponchal was saying. I don't know. We'll have to see. Cooper Kupp. He's got some cups on his way. But Cooper Kupp, 12.8 points. He ends up with a touchdown, 52 yards receiving as well. Running backs, a.k.a. the wide receiver, getting handoff. I think he only had 1 carry, but 16 yards in that one. Saquon Barkley, rookie, making the debut for the G-Men against those Jacksonville Jaguars. Pulls in a solid 21.8 points. Ponchal is happy with his first-round pick. Really living up to the mark. 106 yards rushing, a touchdown, 22 yards receiving. Now, Ponchal went running back, first 3 rounds of the draft. He also picked up Jordan Howard and Alex Collins. Alex Collins, unfortunately, played for a team that absolutely blew out NCAA team, a.k.a. the Bills, 47-3. So, when that happens, your starting running back doesn't get much work. It's a lot of backups in the game by that point. So, 5.9 points there. He only had 13 yards rushing and lost a fumble, but found the end zone. Hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Eric Ebron, 51 yards and a touchdown. To be honest with you, I'm disappointed in Ponchal. He hyped up, and I mean hyped up, Jalen Samuels. And then he drops him like a coward. Like a coward. I think he dropped him on Sunday. First of all, Ponchal, if you're going to hype someone up that much, use them. Have the cojones to use them. Otherwise, I don't want to hear you pipe a word out that mouth. All right. Jordan Howard, 82 yards, 25 yards receiving, pulled in 10.7 points. Fairburn, I think that's how you say it. I might be mispronouncing it. Guess what? I don't really care. I don't think he's that good. 9 points. Hey, that's as much as Harrison Butker got, so can't knock it too much, right? And then the Detroit Lions. First of all, how did the Detroit Lions end up with 9 points? Who knows? They scored a touchdown, but they deserve negative points for this performance on the week. Just absolute trash. Congrats to Brian on the win. Moving on to our next matchup. Let's go to the Dog Pound versus the Snowmen. In this case, we have two good friends. Gerbitz ended up pulling out the victory, 136.62 to Aaron's 106.06. Both respectable scores. He just drew the short straw, that of Aaron. And Matt came out to play, even though Doug Baldwin didn't play. So his wide receiver 2 basically was just a blank spot. Like he forgot to start someone. But you can do that. When your flex, Emmanuel Sanders scores a touchdown, has 135 yards receiving. Your tight end scores a touchdown. Both of your running back slots score a touchdown. Your top wide receiver, Keenan Allen, has 108 yards and a touchdown. Russell Wilson throws 3 touchdowns and 298 yards. Marvin Jones, the weak spot on the team, 54 yards. Oh yeah, then his kicker got him 17 points. So basically his team just continued to find the end zone and put up decent amount of points. You get that on a week in and week out basis. Matt's going to be loving life. Switching sides here to Aaron. Aaron's motto year in and year out is he plays great defense. Week 1, it didn't happen. Will it happen again? Week 2, week 3, week 4? I don't know. Can Aaron go back to playing defense like he normally does? I honestly expect it to happen. It's somewhat of a calling card for him. So Kirk Cousins in this game pulled up just a little over 24 points. He had 2 passing touchdowns in his Minnesota debut. Corey Davis only pulled up 62 yards. He lost Mariota in this game, so could it have been better? Probably. Bright side for his wide receiver core is Godwin found the end zone, as well as AJ Green did AJ Green things. He scores, especially against Indy. It's trash setup there. You expect him to score there. 92 yards and a touchdown for AJ Green. Kareem Hunt, his number 1 overall pick, little bit of a weak day. Basically, when you look at it, Tyreek Hill stole the show in this one, so you can see kind of that Kareem Hunt basically wasn't used as much. Only 49 yards rushing. Didn't have a catch. I was a little surprised about that. I expect that to change in years' time. Lamar Miller, 98 yards rushing and 11 receiving yards. Solid game, especially since his quarterback he looked rusty, and Lamar Miller basically was the only form of offense that they could kind of get a steady flow of on a drive-by-drive basis. Evan Ingram rolled in with 18 yards, not the greatest debut. He plays the Cowboys next. Cowboys oftentimes give up stuff to tight ends, so I'd expect Evan Ingram to have a solid bounce-back week. And then Kenyon Drake, I'm still disappointed in the fact that I don't have Kenyon Drake on my team, but he ended up with 66 total yards. And then you have a total of 28 points from his kicker, Justin Tucker, and his defense, Cleveland. Shout out the Browns. Shout out those 16 points they got for Aaron. They got 3 fumble recoveries, 3 interceptions, 4 sacks. I know Aaron's just giddy inside. I'm actually kind of happy that he has the Browns defense, and they actually did something for him, because that's pretty cool. We all know that Aaron's a Browns fan, and it's an exciting thing to see him have a defense like that, because no one's really thinking to draft the Browns defense, and they put up some numbers for him. Moving on to the next matchup, my partner in crime on Sundays, watching games with me, that'd be Mr. DJ Huffman himself, always sunny in DJville. Came up short against Sergio, 147.94 to 113.88. In this matchup, basically it turns around 3 guys for Sergio's team. If you're looking at it here, I mentioned Tyreek Hill. He had 169 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns, and he decided to open up the game with a return touchdown. So you start off that way, yeah, you're in for a day. He was projected 10.57 points, ended up with 38.3. Clearly annihilated his projection and basically jump-started Sergio's team. Cam Newton against the Cowboys only put up just a little over 18 points, 161 yards passing, but he ran for a touchdown and killed us on the ground with 58 yards rushing. So that's kind of what started his team. Juju Smith-Schuster, 119 yards. And then Kenny mother-flippin' Stills for 106 yards, 2 TDs, 2 scores. 2 scores from your wide receiver 3. You're loving life. Now, everything wasn't all rosy for him. Jimmy Graham only had 8 yards. Devontae Freeman, that is, only had 5 total points, so 50 yards total. Not exactly what you'd hope for from your RB1. But all of a sudden, Le'Veon Bell holding out, right? Oh, guess what? Sergio smart thinking. Drafted James Conner, who put up 32.2 points in his starting role, right, for the first time, his first gig at the Champs. He had 135 yards rushing, 2 rushing TDs, added 57 yards for good measure. Chris Carson, only 59 total yards, 59 or 5.9 points. He had 79 total yards, but he also lost a fumble. His solid defense, that of the Saints, -4. I think it's an aberration, but we'll see. If it continues, it continues. If not, I don't know what happened to that New Orleans defense. It looked horrible week 1. Going to DJ's side. DJ's team did solid. He had a couple misses in regards to guys that didn't do anything, but the rest of the guys, they put up their numbers. Baltimore defense, 19 points. They allowed 3 points to Buffalo to week 1. Basically just dominated that NCAA team. Will Lutz, 6 points, 3 extra points and a field goal. That's all he did. But then you look up here. Joe Mixon, 20.9. Devontae Adams, 14.8. Antonio Brown, 15.3. Tom Brady, 27.28. Those numbers look solid. But then you had Robert Woods at 43 total yards. Duke Johnson, 25 total yards. Trey Burton, 15 total yards. Jordy Nelson, 23 total yards. That's 4 guys in your team that didn't even get you more than 44 yards. Obviously, that's going to change. All those guys aren't going to be that bad on a week in and week out basis from those starting positions on anyone's team. But that's just how the cookie crumbles here for DJ. Unfortunately, he lost this week. Keep your head up, boy. I have a feeling that you're going to win week 2. You heard it here first. I'm calling it. He's winning week 2, and I sure hope so. I really don't want to hear it. So, the last matchup that we have here, and I saved this one for last because it's James' introduction, basically week setup. Well, Monday Night Miracles happen, boys, and James, in week 1 of his Valley Ranch career, got one. So what you're looking at here, closest final we have here, 116.76 to 114.34. Now, Jay Nash lost, not only at the Cowboys game, but lost in fantasy. Rough week all the way around. Sorry, feeling a little parched. But what we have here, let me start with Jay Nash's team before I praise James' team a little bit, because I want to do that as his first time in the league. So, Matt Stafford, I said it. Jay Nash probably saying he sucks. He threw 4 picks, so Dallas native. He sucks. All right, moving on. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, balled out for New Orleans. Kamara, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, 112 receiving. Just ball out, dude. Just ball out. Was last year a fluke? Well, week 1, he said absolutely not. He's going to be better than that. I get to face this next week. Honestly, shaking in my high tops. Michael Thomas, 180 yards receiving, a receiving touchdown. He didn't lose a fumble. Whopping 25 total points. T.Y. Hilton, a guy that Jay Nash always likes. I feel like he always has him. But he pulled in a touchdown and the return of luck, 46 yards total. Marquise Goodwin ended up getting hurt in this game. He didn't get any stats. Royce Freeman, only 71 yards in his debut for Denver. Zach Ertz pulled in a solid 48 yards. Ideally, you want more from him, but we all saw Thursday Night Football on Commish night. If you weren't there, shame on you. If you were there, shame on you for indulging in that trash game. But it is what it is. I know James is happy. And then Kerryon Johnson, 20 receiving yards, 17 rushing yards for a total of 37 total yards on the day. Not ideal from a guy that you want to start at your flex weekly. Do I think it will get better? Yes. It's really hard for Matt Stafford to be worse than he was on Monday night. Matt Prater put up 5 points, and then Denver's defense a whopping 12. Switching on over to James' side of things. So, Drew Brees, 40.56 points. He threw for 439 yards, a 2-point conversion.